Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're all about getting straight to what really counts in your flying. And today, well, we're tackling a big one for IFR pilots, especially if you're aiming for that BIR in something like a Cessna. It's that choice. The classic analog six-pack gauges versus those shiny modern glass displays. Our mission, to really dig into how each setup impacts your instrument flying, what genuinely matters when you're in the cockpit. Analog gauges or shimmering glass, it makes a difference.
It really does. That's a great topic because, you can fly instruments perfectly well on either system, but they definitely have different implications, not just for how you train, but for your workload up there and your overall situational awareness. It's not just aesthetics.
Okay, so let's start with the familiar stuff. For many people, the classic six-pack.
Mm-mm.
What are the fundamentals there, and why is it, still so relevant, especially for that initial instrument training like the BIR?
Right, the six-pack. We're talking about those 6 core analog instruments: attitude indicator, heading indicator, airspeed, altimeter, turn coordinator, and the vertical speed indicator. Think of it like maybe learning manual gears before automatic. Its strength is its mechanical simplicity. It's generally independent, no complex software to crash, and it really, really forces you to build those fundamental scan techniques. You have to actively pull information from different places and piece it together. So what that means in the cockpit, it forces you to fly by numbers, constantly cross-referencing. That core skill, it's vital. It's your fallback, whatever fancy tech you have later.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would build a solid foundation. But constantly scanning, integrating, that sounds mentally demanding,
Yeah.
especially when things get busy up there. What are the potential pitfalls for a student?
You're absolutely right. The main downside is that higher cognitive load, all that cross-checking, building the mental picture from separate dials. Think about a high workload IFR situation. Maybe you get thrown into an unexpected hold. It's bumpy. You're working hard just to synthesize the information. A common trap for, say, a BIR student is getting fixated, maybe staring at the attitude indicator and missing a change in altitude or heading. Examiners are looking for that smooth, continuous scan and accurate interpretation, especially under pressure.
Okay, so the six-pack builds crucial skills but requires constant mental juggling. How different, then, is the experience with these modern glass cockpits?
Glass cockpits or EFIS electronic flight instrument systems. It's a pretty big shift. Instead of separate gauges, you get information integrated onto screens, usually a PFD, the primary flight display right in front of you, and often an MFD, a multifunction display nearby. And they pack in amazing features: synthetic vision showing terrain, flight path markers predicting where you're going, autopilot controls built right in, engine data, terrain, and traffic overlays. It's a lot.
Wow, yeah. That sounds almost easier.
Yeah.
More intuitive, like you said, maybe like a sophisticated video game display. Does it really simplify IFR?
It certainly can enhance situational awareness, yeah. And it definitely cuts down the physical scan time because so much data is right there presented visually. It helps you see the big picture more easily. But, and this is a big but, while it simplifies the presentation of data, you absolutely have to understand its dependencies, know how it works, not just what it's showing you. A trap with glass isn't just using it, it's becoming over-reliant. If that screen suddenly goes dark and they can fail, you must have the core skills to fly the plane using whatever backups you have.
That's a really critical point. Okay, so besides potential screen failure, what are the other downsides or complexities with glass?
Well, there's definitely more system complexity to learn initially. How do all the menus work? How do you configure it correctly? There's a much higher reliance on the aircraft's electrical system, obviously. And you are vulnerable to software bugs, or even just setting it up wrong, which can be misleading. Plus, for pilots used to analog, there's a real transition training need. It's a different workflow, not just looking at a screen.
So putting it all together for me, maybe someone working towards their BIR. What's the main takeaway? Should I aim for one type of cockpit over the other for training? Or is it more about skills that work anywhere?
Honestly, for the BIR student, knowing your way around both is really valuable. What examiners expect and what truly matters when you're actually flying IFR often comes back to the same thing, those core flying skills. Your instrument cross-check, managing trim, power settings, those are universal. Master those transferable skills. Don't just memorize button pushes for one system. Understand the pros and cons of each setup you might fly. Because ultimately, real proficiency means you can adapt and fly safely, whatever instruments are in front of you.
That makes perfect sense. Focus on the fundamental skills that apply everywhere. Great. We've covered a lot, from the nuts and bolts of the six-pack to the integrated world of glass and how they really shape the IFR experience.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the tool and how it influences you. So here's something to think about for yourself. Reflecting on all this, what really stands out to you about how these different cockpits might shape your own IFR strategy, or maybe your decision-making when the weather gets challenging? Mull that over before your next flight.